artists right here. We gon' give them what they came for. We gon' take it up from last year. Shoot 'em my shot, boy, I'm long range. Me and the team on the same thing. Stayed down, never switched up. Only thing changed was the game. I'm in the zone now. Nothing can change what we on now. When I pull up, know it's going down. Foot on the gas, ain't no slowing down. Aiming for greatness, no settling. Kick down the doors, they won't let me in. Taking no L's, yeah, I gotta win. Watch me kick down the doors, they won't let me in.
Hey, what's up, peeps? Thank you for tuning in today's episode of Grind Hard, Hustle Smart with your boy, Charles Johnson. So today, I just want to talk about something real simple, man. And it's been something that's been heavy on my mind the past few days. And to be honest with you, when I was thinking about putting this episode together, or I was putting this episode together, I was sitting there thinking, right? How can I put what's in my mind to words? Or how can I better illustrate and demonstrate through my words exactly how I feel at this point in time with this particular topic? And I had just, perusing through YouTube like we all do, or TikTok. And I was thinking about, past episodes of something I was watching. I love watching, even before it became this huge, global phenomenon. I was watching Club Shay Shay, right? Because I just love the podcast space in general, because number one, I'm a podcaster. So I just want to see what the big dogs are doing, me being someone on the very bottom of the totem pole, seeing what the big dogs are doing at the top of the totem pole. So I just listen to people just to get a different perspective, a different viewpoint, a different, mindset than my own. The podcast world and the world in general shouldn't be this gigantic group thing. There always should be a diversity of thought. And so I've watched this episode like maybe 3 or 4 times. The Cat Williams episode on Club Shay Shay. Then I watched yesterday, or the day before yesterday, the episode with Monique. And I've watched a multitude of Club Shay Shay episodes. I've watched, with Steve Harvey, Cedric the Entertainer. I've watched the Ricky Smiley episode. I've watched the Country Wayne episode. I've watched a multitude of episodes, right? But with these two particular episodes in general, I was sitting there thinking, man, like, wow, what kind of year is 2024 going to shape up to be? Like this, if this is only the beginning of the year, what is the rest of this year is going to look like? Because we're only in the second month, y'all. The second month, February. So we got 10 more months of 2024. And how is this year going to shape up? And what's going to happen throughout the next 10 months that may change the rest of our lives as a species, as humanity, as individuals? What is going to happen, man? And we all sit here and we could just, sometimes you could just feel something on the horizon, man. Like something's either we don't know what's going to happen, but we know that something's going to be either to our detriment or it's going to change our lives forever. And that's that feeling I'm getting, right? Now that's what I see playing out on the world stage more and more and more. Like something's on the horizon. I just can't put my finger on it, but I know it's either going to be very beneficial for me or to my detriment. But, for some reason I'm still excited about it. I don't know why. And as I sit here and I think about it, I think to myself, you know what? I think 2024 is going to be the day or the year, that chains are broken and cycles are broken, and things that were once in the dark will come to the light, and things that were once lies will be manifested and made into truths, meaning that things that we criticized people for and that we said they were telling a lie about, after some time of research, we'll understand that those things are actually true. That everything isn't simply as it seems or were made to believe. And I sent Miss Monique, and I'm this peon in terms of social media. I don't even have over 2,000 subscribers or followers on any platform, right? And so I know she's probably not gonna, either see this or see my message on Instagram, but I sent her, I said, you know what, let me apologize. And this is a greater message for all of us. Let me apologize, Miss Monique. Number one, I value you as a comedian and your artistic expression, number one. Number two, let me sincerely apologize because I believed everything that was the media was putting out. And I'm not going to say you should go out there and believe everybody 1,000%. And I'm not saying I believe Miss Monique 1,000%, because my grandmother always taught me there's three truths. There's your truth, my truth, and the truth. And that's not saying that we are both sides of the parties are lying, but that's to say that if we were to record every bits and parts of our lives, there's this great book. Let me see if I can find it. You know what? Hold on, I'll be right back. Let me go get this book. What's up, guys? Sorry, I'm back. This book right here. This book is a wonderful book. There's actually a bigger study that was done on this exact topic. But, you know, as the back says, it's the book called The Invisible Gorilla. And I just want you all, if you ever got time, you know, go on to YouTube, and there's this experiment that I believe this psychologist did back in the day. And it was talking about how oftentimes our mind fills in parts of the world based off of, you know, how we think and our biases and our intuitions. Exactly, that's what the subtitles of the book says, how our intuitions deceive us. So if you go look at this video on YouTube, I just type in The Invisible Gorilla, and they're talking you through this experiment, but in the middle of it, they do this experiment, they play this video, and then at the end of the video, they ask, who saw the gorilla? And then, you know, there may be a few people who saw it, but then the majority of people in the room who actually watched the video never saw the gorilla. And then when they play it back, and it's something that you can't unsee, because you'll notice it every time from that day forward. A gorilla, there's a bunch of people, if I remember correctly, running around like on a basketball court, right? And then what happens is gorilla walks through the scene, like around the people, not an actual gorilla, but a man in a gorilla suit, right? And it's like, wow, why didn't I see that? And what the researcher or whoever was leading this experiment was talking about was essentially that our mind it's not a trick, but our mind wants us to see the world how it's comfortable for us. And this book goes into great detail about this. It's an awesome book. It's by, the author's name is Christopher Chabris and Daniel Simmons. It's a great book. Check it out. The Invisible Gorilla. It'll open your mind to the world at large and let you see it's not like this conspiracy theorist book, but it just helps you get more in tune with how you see the world and how your mind perceives that world, right? And I start thinking about this, like, and this is the reason why I had to apologize to Mr. Monique. It's like, too often do we let our minds, or do we let ourselves in general, interpret the world the way in which we're comfortable with. You know, it's uncomfortable for us to think of these massive icons like, you know, I'm not, well, supposedly, quote unquote, you know, not. What I'm trying to say is, I still believe these people are great, but everybody has flaws, right? Everybody has these little things about them that we can all pick and prod and say, you know what, that's wrong with you. So just because I believe Miss Monique was right in some instances, there's moments where I think that maybe she's wrong, right? And the same thing goes with the massive moguls and giants that she mentioned. And so did, you know, Cat Williams, he mentioned them, you know, Oprah, Kevin Hart, Steve Harvey, Cedric the Entertainer, Tyler Perry, Lee Daniels, you know, all these people. Yes. And the crazy thing about it is, we, the public, we form these opinions of people that we've never met. I've never met or spent time with Oprah. I've never met or spent time with Tyler Perry. I've never met or spent time with Lee Daniels. I've never met or spent time with Kevin Hart. I've never met or spent time with Steve Harvey. I've never met and spent time with Cedric the Entertainer, nor did I spend time with Ricky Smiley or any of these people that they're talking about. Why? Because I'm not in that sphere. I haven't become, this massive giant. These people have a billion things going on in my life, and guess what? I'm not important enough to be one of that billion. And I understand it. The same thing goes for what I do. There's people every single day that's poking and prodding at me and wanting my attention and wanting my advice or trying to get me to say something or do something to help them or benefit them in some way. And I just don't have time for it. I wrote the book, Lit. I didn't have time then. I'm in my MBA program. I'm doing this podcast, Grind Hard, Hustle Smart. I'm a professional public speaker. I'm a life coach. I do all these things. On top of being a dad and all these other things, I do all these things, man. And so I get it. But I sent Miss Monique this apology because I understand this. I understand that my mind filled in the blanks for her, and I never even bothered to do the research on my own. We form these opinions about people without taking any time to actually investigate a situation and see what patterns are actually around us that we've never noticed, because our mind fills in the blanks. Our mind fills in the blanks, and that's how we look at successful people all the time, or people at the upper echelon of capitalism or success as a whole, that these people, we kind of look at them as the way that I don't want to make this comparison because I know they're not these type of individuals. They're not, dictators or murderers or anything, but if it's kind of like the way that the North Koreans look at Kim Jong-un, right? They believe this man doesn't poop and pee, he doesn't defecate, he's perfect. And that's the way we look at our celebrities. We look at our moguls. Like, man, you can't imagine Tyler Perry or Oprah, or they don't get up looking like the way they look throughout the day in the morning. They get up out of bed just like us. They go to bed, they wake up, they got crust in their eyes, they got to brush their teeth, they got to, Oprah probably has a bad hair day, all these other things. But we look at these people as superhuman, like they just wake up, they go to sleep and wake up in this bubble where they just wake up the person that they are when we finally see them on TV, when we don't know and we don't recognize how Oprah or Kevin Hart and these guys, they've been through this makeup session for hours. People trying to make sure every fiber of their hair is laying down correctly. They have a whole team behind them so they can put out this image, just persona. And that's what we see. And so when somebody comes and they say, you know what, that person didn't do me right in this instance of my life. It's like that invisible gorilla, right? We say, you know what, the gorilla walks past and we fill in the blanks. And sometimes it happens in reverse. We say, you know what? No, that's impossible, man. Oprah didn't do that to you. Oprah is auntie to everybody. Kevin Hart is this mogul. Tyler Perry is this mogul. They're opening doors for people that were never once opened before. They're mentoring people that, never had that mentorship. They didn't rocketed people's careers. There's no way that they have any flaws about them. There's no way that they have done anybody wrong or belittled anybody or blackballed anybody. That's impossible. And what's even more damning about this is the fact that it's causing us to choose sides. And I should have listened to my grandmother gave me, God rest her soul, she gave me all these magnificent and awesome quotes, right? And I remember, like I said, she told me that there's 3 truths, my truth, your truth, and the truth. But the next one is, she used to say, the truth is like rain. You don't give a who it falls on. You don't give a dang who it falls on. The truth falls on everybody. It doesn't matter if you feel like you're right. It don't matter if you feel like you're wrong. It's still going to fall regardless. I live in South Florida. If it rains almost 2 or 3 times a week, that's probably minimum. It rains all the time, right? At no point in time does the rain and the raindrops on the way down say, you know what, I'm not going to fall on Charles today. He got a lot going on, man. I can't I remember it rained on my graduation day. I was had in my cap and gown. I was headed to the Florida Panthers arena here in Sunrise, Florida, right? And I remember it was raining on when the graduation was over, and guess what? Rain hit everybody. All the graduates got wet. We all got wet. The rain didn't care. Hey, this is the most monumental day of your life. Today have paved the way for your future. You all either got your bachelor's degrees or your associates. But guess what? The rain doesn't have a conscience. It doesn't have a brain. It doesn't say, you know what? I don't want to fall on this person. I don't want to fall on these people. I'm going to ruin their day. And that's the same way the truth works. It says it's going to fall anyway. Just like the Bible says, what? What happens in the dark will what? Come to light. That's how truth works. And so what I would say is that, and I keep saying this and I've repeated it multiple times. The reason why I messaged Miss Monique is because I wanted her to know that I made an error of judgment. And the reason why I wanted to apologize to her, and I know what I say online or in social media has no effect whatsoever on her image, or because nobody really sees it, like maybe my mom, a few uncles, some cousins, right? But the point I wanted to bring across is that just because these people are huge doesn't mean that they don't affect people's lives. Like, I'm sure you all know Kevin Hart has messed up multiple times. I'm sure you all know that maybe Oprah has messed up multiple times. And I think the thing that everybody wants to say is that, especially in the black community, is don't tear down the best of our best. But what I had to recognize is this. Just because everyone is out there putting their best foot forward for us as a community doesn't mean that they should lack accountability. And I was listening to Stephen A. talk about this topic. He was talking about it with Dion Cole, and he had did this monologue by himself earlier in his episode on his podcast, right? Stephen A. Smith Show. And he had said something to the effect of, essentially that it was, Monique, it looked from his perspective that she was being petty. And I wouldn't say he's wrong in that. But what I would say, and I was going to leave a comment on his video, but I didn't. What I would say is this, is that I think it's too often we as a black community want to deal with everything in-house. Meaning that we don't want to give everybody this perspective. We don't want to look bad to the world, right? But my counter argument would be, what happens when solving things in-house never solves anything? When these bad habits continue to be perpetrated and done to people, either consciously or unconsciously, at what point do we as a community and say, you know what, Oprah, you wronged somebody in this instance. You need to go fix that before we start messing with you again. You know what, Kevin Hart? You wronged somebody in this instance. Steve, you wronged somebody. Cedric, you wronged somebody. Ricky, you wronged somebody. And then let everybody come together and, solve their issues and then continue moving forward as a community. But it is not our place to choose sides, because the invisible gorilla will get us every single time. Both sides of the argument will see exactly what they want to see, not because it's the truth, but because our mind will play tricks on us and our biases will set up an image for us. And then when I talk about bias, I'm not talking about something racial. I'm talking about everyday biases that we have, how we see people every single day, the things that we feed ourselves every single day. We all have biases against or for Oprah, biases against or for Kevin Hart, biases against, even Monique or Cat Williams themselves. But just because it's how we feel doesn't make it true. And so I apologize to Ms. Monique because I had to give myself some accountability. to say it's not my job to take sides. It's my job. It's my God-given right. When I get on this mic or when I post something on social media, not that that's a God-given right, but I'm talking about like with the intelligence that God has given me, with my intellect, I have a reciprocal responsibility to my community to make sure that I seek the truth. And oftentimes, in many cases of this situation, we'll never know what that truth is. We'll never get down to the bottom of it because we don't know. We wasn't in that room. You know, Monique was talking about Oprah's, previous makeup artist. Guess what? He's passed away, guys. So whatever information he had, we'll never hear from his mouth. So some of these things we'll never get to the bottom of, and it's not my job to play sides. The invisible gorilla got me. The invisible gorilla got me. And we put people on a pedestal. And then we develop a bias for those people. And so when something happens, we go to their defense when we don't know any of the information at all. And the thing about it is we do that every single day on smaller scales. On smaller scales. You know, when the school calls me about my son acting up, I don't immediately say, your teacher's the problem, that school is the problem, the system is the problem. No. Because knowing what I know, if my son's anything like me, man, he was in school acting up. Miss Massey, my third grade teacher, let me apologize. Your boy was a clown. Miss Reed, let me apologize. I was a clown. Miss Pines, Miss Cook. You know, people, I'm from place in Fairfield, Alabama. Look it up. There's an elementary school called C.J. Donald Elementary. That's where Miss Massey, man, I used to get paddled all the time. And then Forest Hills Middle School, where I went to middle school in Fairfield, Alabama, you had Miss Reed, Miss Cook, Miss Pines, Miss Sokol, you know, Mr. Dotson. You had all these, Mr. Abernathy, all these teachers. Boy, I used to be a clown. But if anybody, you know, even at Restoration Academy, I got kicked out of that school twice. Twice they had enough grace and mercy to let me back in, and they let me back in. So let me also apologize to Miss Edwards, Coach Shepard, Coach Coker, you know, who else? Miss Lawrence, Sandy Lawrence, man. I can go on and on. All these people need an apology for me because if my mom or grandmother ever went up there and was like, "That's my baby is perfect," well, I made them look like a fool because I was a clown. I was in there doing all types of things. So I know both perspectives. And now that I have that forethought and I have the ability to say, you know what? The truth isn't what it seems. I can go and say, you know what, Miss Monique, let me apologize. Because yes, Oprah is this massive figure. She's done so much good in the world. So much good in the world. But that doesn't mean that she's incapable of doing Monique wrong. That doesn't mean that all the massive good that she's done somehow should overshadow the one wrong that she's done. That's not what it means. What it means is because we hold you to this high esteem, you should be willing on your own to go fix it. If you want to continue being held up here. And that's what it means. You know, with massive power comes massive responsibility. It's not just talking about people's jobs or people's salaries or people's welfare, but it's also talking about when you get to the top and you have developed this idea of character where you do so much good and you've helped catapult so many careers. I mean, I even heard about how Inky Johnson he went to Oprah Winfrey's building and trying to give her his book. And then, you know, she finally took it and his bodyguard went to him and was like, hey, young man, let me talk to you. Oprah doesn't ever do that. So if she asked you for your book, then that means something. You're special. When you are up here like that, you still have a responsibility to fix it. And no, guess what? Oprah doesn't have to do it publicly. Guess what? If Kevin Hart wrongs somebody, they don't have to do it publicly. It's a simple phone call. It's a simple email. Hey, come meet me here at this point in time. And we work it out. We solve it. Because what our community needs is not how to confront an issue, but how to reconcile it as well. And that's the part that we're missing. How do we reconcile? And black people have always been a model for America. Our mental shift has always been able to shift the lens of America. That's our God-given ability as a community. To be able to shift the focus of America in such a way to say, you know what, that's not right. That needs to be fixed. To bring it back down to me and to give you a lesson and help you understand what I mean is that far too often do we know how to fight? Do we know how to use these hands? We know how to fop, jab, uppercut. But when it comes time to acknowledge hurt, pain, and work towards fixing those things, or building some type of compromise, we don't know how to do it. Because sometimes, especially in our community, the black community, and even I think the Latino community has trouble with this because, we all have that quote unquote, that macho man, that machismo, right? We say, you know what? To show just a little bit of humility is weakness. When it's the opposite. It shows that you are massively secure in who you are. So you saying, you know what? I apologize. I was wrong. Let me take a step back and rethink this thing. Let me take a step back and have some empathy is a massive sign of strength and security in who you are as an individual. I was in men's group. Go to men's group at Panera Bread from church every Tuesday. And we're talking about manhood, right? And, there's some older men in there. I'm talking about men in their 40s, 50s, and 60s, some older gentlemen. And, here I am, 37 years old, and they're saying, men have lost the ability to be men, or men have been demasculated in this society. And I offered just one note. I said, I don't think men have lost their masculinity. I think men have lost their purpose. They lost their way. We're all warriors with no war to fight. We don't have a mission. So what do? We put our energy into other things, and maybe those other things they're not beneficial to us as a species, as a community at all. Men still exist. Masculine men still exist. I'll put it this way. It's like a pit bull or a dog, a German shepherd, just something that they know they're a warrior, man. They got that fire, that fight in them, and they just want to put their energy in the right direction, and they want to fight the fight every single day. But then the world tells them they need to wear a muzzle. You can't say that no more. You can't act that way no more. What's in your nature, you can't do it anymore. I'll end on this awesome story. I can't remember who told the story originally. If you all know, then go give them credit. I apologize in advance. But it's a story of the frog and the scorpion, right? So the frog is sitting there on the river bank, and scorpion walks up and says, "Hey man, I need to get across the river. Can you give me a ride?" Frog says, "No, man, you're gonna sting me." Scorpion says, "No, brother, I ain't gonna sting you. Just give me a ride across, man. That's all I need. Just give me a ride across. I'll wash my hands and keep it moving." So the frog agrees. They go on across the river. They make it to the other side, and then the frog feels some pain in his back. Like, man, ow, that hurts. Bro, why did you sting me? And the scorpion says, "Bro, you knew I was a scorpion before you met me. Or when you met me." And that's the way I look at this society oftentimes. or when we have these discussions about who's supposed to be in what role and where and how men are supposed to act or be in this society, you knew I was a man when you met me. You knew I was a masculine man when you met me. And the problem with this society is we give up so often. And I keep telling these stories and I'm going on and on and on. But Les Brown had this great story. He said, there was this young man that walked past this house one time, and there's an old man sitting in a rocking chair, and beside his feet on the right was this dog laying down, and the dog's just groaning. Just groaning. The young boy asked the old man, he said, why is the dog groaning like that? The old man says, because he's sitting on the nail. Young boy says, well, why don't he just get up? Old man says, because it don't hurt bad enough yet. And that's how I look at our society now. Doesn't hurt bad enough yet. Nothing hurts bad enough yet. But when it starts to hurt, we'll get up and realize. Because I believe that we all have a place in this world. We all have our God-given abilities and gifts for a reason. No matter how big or how small we are, we have a part to play. And when we go out of alignment of our mission, our purpose, and the things that we're passionate about, it starts to get painful. But we get so comfortable with that pain oftentimes, we don't get up and do something about it. And there's a lot of us sitting on that nail right now, not getting up. Hey, thank you for tuning in. Have a good time. Welcome to Grind Hard, Hustle Smart. Thank you for tuning in. This is your boy Charles. Go check out the book. Sold on Amazon.com called Lit. Please check it out. Have a good one.
I would make it this far, they hated, they never believe me. Yeah, I would never drop the ball, I know I make it look easy. Yeah, Mayweather with the defense. I don't care what a critic gotta say, I got them picking up the pieces. That to me, you really playing with your life, I'm about to come and run it all back. I'm the new era, about to snap back, you ain't fitting for it cause you all cap like. Hold up, I shoot my shot, wait, hold up. I'm really about to run this go up. You know it's all net when it go up. Ain't got no other plans, you don't need to understand, ayy. We on overtime, you don't need to understand, ayy. You just show them how to do it when you don't know what to say. Tell me how you plan to win if you plan to play it safe.
Moving fast, already gone, yeah, but you bringing me back. Try to double cross me, dog, just let me relax. Stop assuming what we doing, keep it moving, what we doing. Cause it can get big and right, cause it can get big and right, big and right, cause it can get big and right.
Ay, please don't play no games with me, I promise I'm too much. Ay, I can never let up even if you had enough. Ay, this ain't for the faint of heart, we always playing rough. I had enough, it ain't luck. I needed a vision, I needed ambition, I needed a mission to beat a submission with no intermission. I see the collision, the crash in the distance ain't coming off track, no. Now when they ask what's the motive, don't talk like the show them. They all about to see what I mean in the moment. I gotta keep going, I'm shaking the dice and I'm keeping it rolling. They already know. Ain't got no other plans, you don't need to understand, ayy. We on overtime, you don't need to understand, ayy. You just show them how to do it when you don't know what to say. Tell me how you plan to win if you plan to play it safe.
Moving fast, already gone, yeah, but you bringing me back. Try to double cross me, dog, just let me relax. Stop assuming what we doing,